So thank you very much, Daphne. This is a very important conversation, like we were just saying in the before I started to record, because we are talking about our history, talking about our identity, Africans in Europe. This is an important, very important conversation. But of course, we are going to start with you. In this podcast, of course, you are going to discover before the end of the podcast that there is a lot about you in the project that you are working on. And this is how we want to do it. We believe that everyone has a story to tell. But so we would usually start with you. So tell us something about you. Present yourself.
Thank you for having me, Obehi. So I'm Daphne Di Cinto. I am a writer, director, and actor. I was born in northern Italy. Yes, I've spent the past year working on this project that talks exactly about what you were just talking about. So it's just about our identity and our history, specifically in Europe and specifically in the 1500s.
Okay, that's interesting. Now, there was something I was reading in no, actually, I was listening to your video on Indiegogo on the campaign, and I picked a line that was very interesting for me. In fact, it was a question. You said, do you think it's right that a country where you were born, you are considered a stranger? You're considered a foreigner, actually. I think you used that word. And so do you sometimes feel like a foreigner, or people make you feel like a foreigner in the country that you were born?
Well, I mean, that's the story of my life, but I think it's the story of so many of us who are born in Italy or have been raised in Italy, but are not really ever considered Italian, not even from, our closest circles, which is really funny. There's always this constantly pointing and reminding that you're something different, which, yes, definitely there is a lot in me that is not, I mean, I would say 50% in me that is not, 100% Italian, because there's that 50% that comes from Africa, which I am super proud of. I am super proud of that one part, as I'm super proud of that second part. What I think is something to think about is how people feel this need to constantly point out the difference and to constantly point out that you don't really belong. So that's what it's been. It's been this constant not feeling like I did belong where I was born. Obviously, the one constant question was, where are you from? And to my response, I would get super wide eyes and jaw dropping. and sometimes I'd be called a liar. I swear to you, there's been one person that actually said, no, that's not true. Like, show me your identity card. And I was a kid. I was like probably 15 or something.
That is really strong, though. Of course, we are laughing about it now, but it's really deep, you know. In that I did a research in Veneto where I will try to, because this project that we are talking on, the podcast, actually was born from a research project into the presence of African in northern Italy, but paying a
Yeah.
particular attention to Veneto region, and where we, in a certain, the beginning of the story was to find out who were the first Africans in the city of Verona, what did they do, how did they manage to survive, because the story is very interesting. You should really take a look at it. I wrote a book about it and make a documentary, which represented the different parts of Italy. Then the second phase of the project was also very interesting because it had to do with a section of Verona that is called Veroneta, because that is where some of the first Africans stay. In fact, that is also one of the most metropolitan part of Italy. Of Verona, in terms of Mitica, instead of the mixture of different culture mixing up together. And the third part of the project, which I also produced a book, had to do with the children of immigrant in Veneto schools. You know, this very light discrimination, racism against children is very subtle, as it were, no? Much like what is happening in the UK, you almost they never pronounce it, but it is there and deeply rooted in the system. And the children feel it. It is painful, you know, where you have to tell a child that you don't belong. You know, it's not very easy, you know. So, where I want to go to, Daphne, is when you were growing up, what kind of experience do you have? How did you begin to know that you were, they really wanted to make you feel that you are different?
Yeah, well, this is really important, and it's probably reason number one that pushed me to start this project and to really wanting to give it a voice, because I was reflecting on children, in fact, and I was reflecting on the fact that today in 2021, they are still facing the exact same kind of discrimination that we were facing back when we were in school. And it's been probably, 20 past years. And talking to friends too, I realized that our experiences were so similar. And there is something to say to this. We all have different stories, even though obviously we share a background. I grew up very privileged because I never missed anything. I had everything I could have wished for. I was kind of good in school, so I was doing my thing. But nevertheless, there just comes a moment where you are not allowed to keep on going with your own life without having to face these kind of aggressions, which today are called microaggressions. But I also want to invite people to think about how micro can it be for a kid. I mean, it shapes their identity. It shapes what they think about themselves. And that's the most important thing growing up. Giving kids the space and the tools to become the best men and women they can. And so, yeah, that's why I thought, the project I was working on could really speak to that. Because, well, to answer your question, then I want to start from representation in, well, I guess just outside of a person's home. I always tell this story, how I was so surprised that one of the first times I went to London. I had family there. I still have family there. So in England, they have these shops where they have sections of products for Black hair. And on the boxes of these products, you have Black women with hair like me, or, just like all the range of Afro hair that you can have. I was just so surprised. I remember just like standing there, jaw dropped, thinking, oh, we exist. Like here, there's a whole section that talks about my hair. And in Italy, that did not exist whatsoever. And we should have a whole different podcast talking about what happened to my hair in the first 20 years of my life. But see, this to say that something as small as seeing yourself represented on the box of a hair product can make a difference. And I get a lot of people saying, well, it's not a big deal. And this comes from people that see themselves represented every single day. So they give it for granted that it's not a big deal. But my question is, well, what if it were the other way around? What if, you would see just Black people literally everywhere on every single advertisement and every single box of, hair products, biscuits, TV sets, I don't know. And you were never there. It would affect the way you see your place in the world. And as of now, we're coming to a time where we're addressing this more, and there is a slight change going in the right direction, which really makes me laugh when people push back on that, saying, oh, now there's Black people everywhere. I'm like, where were you when there was nobody but white people everywhere? Why did you never raised your voice then? You never said, hey, maybe we should also represent this other part of the population that actually existed. I think it really is a conversation about let's look inside, and let's put our egos on the side, because we don't need them. This is not about power. This is about respecting what is around us.